What it do, cuckolds? It's time for another episode of Hater on the Road, motherfuckers. Hater on the Road. Now, that being said, the topic of today's video is the ratings, quote-unquote, decline of AEW. Essentially, what happened was their pay-per-view-ish event, Blood and Guts, drew a lot more people because it's basically a free pay-per-view, right? It was presented as such, and it was considered to be a very, very good event by many, including myself. Now, with all that being said, if we continue this logic and apply it to what's going to happen the next episode, the reality is nobody's going to watch, right? Like, I didn't watch last episode of AEW, mostly because I forgot, but even if I hadn't forgotten, I don't think I would have watched, because what are the odds that the same people are going to wrestle twice in a row, right? Like, it's unlikely that I'm going to see, like, Mark Briscoe and people that I like, you know, the Acclaimed, because they have to at least, they're probably not going to work for a while, but, you know, even if they could, they have to at least sell their injuries, right? So it's like, I have no interest in watching Hook anymore, because, like, you know, do you guys remember when I used to like Hook? And it's like, since then, he's done fucking nothing. It's been like 3 years. He's done nothing. Hook sucks now, you know? Everybody sucks in AEW. So the ratings drop represents a drop of 22-point-something%, which means that last week they must have gotten around 800,000, because now it's around 650, right? Somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact figures. So that would represent approximately a 20-25% drop in ratings. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people are blaming this on the Olympics. But hold on a second, partner. Since when did America start giving a flying fuck about the Olympics? Let's be real, nobody gives a shit about that. The Olympics are goofy, you know? On Peacock, since Peacock is the home of the Olympics, right? I have Peacock for WWE purposes. And on Peacock, you can, like, watch the Olympics coverage, right? It's like one streaming channel that kind of just shows you what's going on at that moment. That's relevant, right? You can also, like, make it so it's like multiple things in one screen, but generally speaking, it's like you can watch a lot of things at once, and you can watch this channel and see boring ass things like fencing, you know, which actually I found pretty entertaining because I watched a little bit of that, right? But since when did the Olympics get in the way of real shit, right? It's like there's a hierarchy, right? The Olympics are low on the hierarchy. The hierarchy in the United States, unfortunately, but for better or for worse, goes to something a little bit like this. NFL, maybe after that NBA, but I would honestly say NFL and everything else is fair game, right? The NFL is going to outdraw everything else, right? The NFL football, for those of you that aren't Americans and don't know what the NFL is, American football is going to outdraw everything else, right? It just is how it is in America. But after that, it's not axiomatic that, you know, a random NBA game is going to draw more people than The Walking Dead or something like that, right? It's not. Everything is up for competition at that point. In the rest of the world, it's basically this. Soccer is going to outdraw everything. And then in some places like India and shit like that, you know, cricket might be bigger, but, like, it's basically football and soccer. And I ain't see no football or soccer. I see the Olympics. The Olympics are not this massive draw. Now, they are a massive success because they are a global draw, right? And they're presented as a big deal, and obviously they draw millions. But not the same types of people, right? I don't understand why wrestling kind of still operates under this premise that it's a real sport and that it's competing with real sports. It's not at all. Like, if the season premiere of Yu Yu Hakusho, or whatever, I know that's something like that. There's an anime called Yu Yu Hakusho or whatever, like Yo Yo Hakusho, I don't know. Some shit like that, people always talk about it. But if the season premiere of that shit, you know, coincided with AEW, that would be a bigger problem, because that would split the neckbeard demographic. Half of them would watch Yu Yu Hakusho, and the other half would watch AEW, right? Likewise, if there was any kind of My Little Pony season premiere, that would split the audience, right? If the new Iron Man movie came out, that would split the audience, because the audience of wrestling, not just AEW to be fair, the audience of wrestling, it's a bunch of fat nobodies, a bunch of neckbeards. Like, I don't know if anybody here watches Cobra Kai, which is one of the best shows of all time at this point, but there's a character in Cobra Kai called Stingray. The guy does a really good job. I think he's, like, signed to MLW now or something, right? But he's basically like the stereotypical neckbeard. He's like a fat neckbeard nobody. And there's a scene and he's like a wrestling fan in real life, so he understands what he's doing. He's actually like not a bad actor. But basically, there's a part where he's like walking around the lawn. He's like unemployed. He has all the stereotypes of a neckbeard, right? And then like, and he's doing some innocuous activity, and then like the scene cuts to him doing this activity, and then you hear him like singing along to Judas, right? He's like, I become, and it was pretty good because it's like it framed him as like an AEW fan, basically, right? It was really, really well done, I thought. So that's the idea, right? That like wrestling no longer competes with the cool shit. So this idea that, oh, there's an NFL game, what are people gonna watch, wrestling or NFL? It's not the same audience, motherfuckers. It's not the same audience. If there was a hentai marathon, that would be bigger competition. You know, we are not at the time anymore where wrestling is cool so that it competes with other things that present themselves as cool, right? I mean, arguably everything to a degree presents itself as cool, but you know what I'm saying. Like anime is presented as niche. It's presented as accessible to like fat neckbeards who've never gotten laid. You know what I mean? Like it's for a different group of people, you know? And fun fact, when the hater went to Japan, like I wish I had the channel back then, because like I started the channel like I think 2 months after I went to Japan for a random ass vacation. But that would have been great because I could have done an episode of Hater in Japan, motherfuckers, Hater in Japan. But maybe I'll go back one day, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that'd be great actually. So, with all that being said, cuckwads, the reality of the matter is exactly what it sounds like, right? We have a situation where we find ourselves completely rammed and cucked. And AEW losing the ratings is not indicative of AEW, right? This is just a byproduct of the fact that they blew their load 2 weeks ago and they don't have enough talent to put on 2 consecutive good episodes, right? I don't even know what happened. It could have been the best episode ever. But nobody gave a shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it did the opposite of what it was supposed to do. And this idea that we can blame the Olympics is just ridiculous. Like, the Olympics have no bearing on AEW's ratings, as I've so clearly articulated with my example of a hentai marathon, right? But the reality is this. You cannot blame external forces, right? There was a time, this was a long, long time ago, where WWE Monday Night Raw, WWF I should say, Monday Night Raw, would compete with Monday Night Football, right? There were times when Monday Night Football was like shit. You know, we're on Monday nights. That's the same night as Raw and Nitro, right? Because wrestling was actually cool. Like, that's one thing that I need to do a video on, right? Because I do believe that a lot of people, like the present day wrestling audience, it's like almost all the fans from back in the day are gone, right? These are just new fans. So like you have these people that are like, people are stuck in the past and the attitude era. Like, if you weren't there, you probably didn't quite get it. So I gotta do a video on that. But, you know, let's focus on this video for now. AEW's losses of ratings have no bearing on anything other than their own product, right? There is not that much competition, right? There is nothing in America right now that is any form of unifying force. The only exception might be like, you know, a high-level NFL game, like a Super Bowl type of shit, right? Look at this fucking idiot just standing here. It's green, retard. Go. Dumb motherfucker. Stupid Lexus driver. Anyways, so with all that being said, the truth of the matter is exactly that, right? There's no unifying force. It's either maybe the Super Bowl, maybe like if you have the presidential debate, like I can get behind that. But the Olympics, get the fuck out of here, man. Unless there was some sort of Japanese-centric event, unless the Olympics last week were like, you know, Japanese people competing against, you know, Korean people on, you know, who's the bigger neckbeard. If it was the neckbeard Olympics, maybe I'd understand, but I don't really see it as a thing. So that being said, motherfuckers, you can't blame the ratings on the Olympics. AEW has much bigger problems. Primarily, the idea that there's no follow-through, you know what I mean? There's no reason for me to watch the next thing. And now, it's like August just started like a day ago, but I do believe that there's nothing that is going to happen, even in AEW, until All In or whatever, until the Wembley show, right? That's just how it is in this motherfucker, you know? Same thing with WWE, but of course it's worse with WWE because with them it's like 24/7, you know what I mean? Like nothing happens ever except for on pay-per-views. So, there you have it. AEW falling behind, sucking ass, you know, doing the usual thing that they're known to do, right? For anyone that was excited that maybe the hater was going to be this big AEW fan, well, here we are, motherfuckers. I am not. Yeah, there's no way around that. I cannot be a real AEW fan. So there you have it. Now, with all that being said, take care of yourselves. Have a nice weekend and stick around this week because we've got a lot going on this weekend, right? We've got SummerSlam. Obviously, there's going to be a review of that. Maybe I'll watch SmackDown. There's going to be a review of that too. So we'll see, Cucks. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of videos this weekend, probably, is the point I'm trying to make, Cucks. Expect at least 2 videos today, this one and another one. And then also, I might do the SmackDown review tonight as well. We'll see. Depends on when I get home from hanging out, Cucks.